Today I'm going to look at this Arrows RC J3 Cub. So it's a slightly above 1 meter wingspan RC airplane, and it's fairly lightweight also. I think the scale details on this one is really nice. There is no pilot inside, sadly, but I think the cowl and engine details are really nice. I think I mean, overall it's just a nice looking RC airplane. So let's go to the flying field and make this one. So finally it's time to get this Arrows RC J3 Cub in the air. And I did try to run it on this grass, but it was difficult to actually launch. I will pick it up and do a hand launch, which always works. So good firm throw is always best, and always go full throttle. I have no wind today, or almost no wind, so it's a really great opportunity to just get a sense of how the airplane works without any influence of the wind. I'm running this on my Spektrum NX10, and I have 30% expo on all the control surfaces, which to me works great. It's kind of have a bit of a lee room when it comes to how you handle the sticks. I've set my timer for 5 minutes, and I'm running this on a 2-cell 1300 milliamp battery. It's a rather low noise from the engine, and so it's me and the birds and this J3 Cub then. Really nice morning, a bit cold, but no wind, and just a joyful time to be up early in the morning and bring your RC airplane to the sky. It's something I appreciate very much. And I'm staying about maybe 50-60% throttle and just pushing it in the turns, because I know that the rounded wings of the Cub they are prone to tip stalls, so whenever you have a tight turn you actually have to have some speed. As soon as you can hear my I have the AR637T inside, so it's giving me voltage readout from the battery. And voltage readout of a battery on a new RC plane is always a good thing. If there is something wrong, you actually know that the battery is about to be depleted. You can do a certain amount of aerobatics with the J3 Cub, but I don't think this is a plane suited to do just go ripping around the sky doing aerobatics. It's more of a scale flyer, and have a nice look at this, the paint and the details on this RC airplane. So this kind of style where you have this wide turns, left and right turns, and flybys is, I suppose, the appropriate way to fly this J3 Cub. So tight turns are most definitely possible if you just keep up speed and do both rudder and aileron turns. This is not a powerful RC airplane in that you can push through loops, because when I did the loop I did actually go full throttle, but it's not like some of the RC airplanes which are so snappy, and even when you're almost on the top of the loop and you lose a little bit of speed, you can actually just push the throttle and it can just push through in a nice way. So this is not a powerful RC airplane at all. It's I guess it's okay to fly like this, but it's not a speed demon or not a powerful aerobatic RC airplane. It's a nice scale flyer though. So let us get it down then, and flare a bit. Yeah, nice. Got it down in one piece, that's always a good thing. And I think this Aeros RC J3 Cub looks really nice with this paint scheme. So it was interesting to fly this Aeros finally. I've actually had this plane for more than 6 months, but I haven't managed to squeeze in to fly it because I have so many RC airplanes to maiden, and some are, you know, just appears to be more fun when you get them and you want to fly them right away. And this one was actually lingering in the box for quite some time. And the reason why I bought this is because I think it's a really striking design with the blue and white and the rays on top of the wing. And I think looking at this as a scale RC airplane and the cowl details, like I have the engine details and even the cockpit details. I think it's a nice looking RC airplane. But I also discovered, because I also have the Aeros RC Cessna 182, and it's really apparent that to me that this one and the Cessna, they are a bit underpowered, at least how I want an RC airplane to fly, because I want to have power to just push through maneuvers. And although I think you actually can go quite fast with this one, I think the power is on the low side, and I do actually run this on the 2-cell 1300 milliamp battery, which are the same batteries that run my FMS Warbirds, and I have ample power on them. And it might be possible to actually run this on 3-cell. I don't know if the engine can take it or the ESC. But I mean, to me, it does feel just a little bit underpowered, which is sad actually. And just by looking at the engine inside it, it's quite tiny. And this is a 1 meter wingspan RC airplane, not weighing too much, about 600 or 700 grams fully loaded. But the power is an issue. It is actually, and maybe it's powered the right way to fly scale, because it certainly can do aerobatics, but I don't think that this is an RC airplane that you actually want to do too much aerobatics with. I think it's more about just flying scale. And I can of course compare this one to my FMS Ranger 850, which is one of my favorite civil RC airplanes in that size. And with the FMS Ranger, I can do all the aerobatics, and although it's not snappy, I can actually do everything. So the power is good, but this one does actually feel maybe a little bit too heavy for the engine. I don't know. So to assemble this one is really easy. There are 2 screws to hold the main wing, and of course you have to attach the cables. There are these nice struts underneath the wing to screw to the fuse. The The tail is actually held by 4 screws, 2 on each side, and of course you have to attach the linkage. And there are also these nice pins on the tail, metal pins, which you put in, which looks fantastic. I also think the cowl details are really nice. I did modify this one prior to flying it. So underneath I actually have these larger rubber wheels, because the tiny wheels that come stock with this one they're really tiny, and I think I can never actually take off from grass. And in the stock landing gear there are actually the usual spring mechanism which all these J3 Cubs have. But it actually broke before I got it up in the air, so I just removed it, because the landing gears by themselves, they have this solid metal pin inside. So I think they will last, and there are kind of springy feeling to them. So I don't think that's an issue. Just if you want to have it working in a good way, just remove it and put larger wheels on this one, because it really needs it if you want to take off from some sort of grass. But I did actually have problems just to get it to go straight in grass, and also to actually take off. So I think it's a quite common problem when you have these tiny wheels like this one have, and it's the same thing on the FMS Warbirds. It can actually be really difficult to taxi straight on grass. So that's an issue with many of these, and as I believe, Aeros RC, they are actually kind of the same as FMS. I think maybe it's FMS that does actually make these, because FMS have an old J3 Cub that is yellow, in the same size, and everything looks almost the same except the color. So I suppose this is like a different version of the FMS J3 Cub 1030mm wingspan RC airplane. But at least to me, I think it's a great looking RC airplane. So if you're satisfied with flying more scale and just doing docile turns, I think it could be a good option. But to me, it's on the underpowered side, not crazy underpowered, but it is underpowered, and it's not too fun to fly. Actually, I want to have an RC airplane that I can do aerobatics and quite snappy and speedy. And of course I want to fly scale, so the mixture of flying both is a little bit more difficult with this one, and it's the same on the Aero Cessna as well. So that's the J3 Cub then from Aeros RC.